If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
This is a struggle for the survival.
Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
And this will be our last chance to say.
Trying to free your mind. It is this feeling that has brought you to me.
At last.
No judge in U.S. history has ever told somebody what they can and can't say.
The whole purpose of the First Amendment is to keep the government the hell out of the business of speech.
Many of us had to be brought to the brink. A lot of us here have a calling
I can only show you the door.
to awaken others.
You're the one that has to walk through it.
Spreading a message.
Something's happening, right?
The world is changing every day.
Civilization is clearly
Time is coming.
at a
Train
tipping
can't be stopped. It's
Right?
already here.
If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
This is a struggle for the survival.
Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
And this will be our last chance to say.
Trying to free your mind. It is this feeling that has brought you to me.
At last.
No judge in U.S. history has ever told somebody what they can and can't say.
The whole purpose of the First Amendment is to keep the government the hell out of the business of speech.
Many of us had to be brought to the brink. A lot of us here have a calling
I can only show you the door.
to awaken others.
You're the one that has to walk through it.
Spreading a message.
Something's happening, right?
The world is changing every day.
Civilization is clearly
Time is coming.
at a
Train
tipping
can't be stopped. It's
Right?
already here.
If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
This is a struggle for the survival.
Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
And this will be our last chance to say.
Trying to free your mind. It is this feeling that has brought you to me.
At last.
No judge in U.S. history has ever told somebody what they can and can't say.
The whole purpose of the First Amendment is to keep the government the hell out of the business of speech.
Many of us had to be brought to the brink. A lot of us here have a calling
I can only show you the door.
to awaken others.
You're the one that has to walk through it.
Spreading a message.
Something's happening, right?
The world is changing every day.
Civilization is clearly
Time is coming.
at a
Train
tipping
can't be stopped. It's
Right?
already here.
If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
This is a struggle for the survival.
Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
And this will be our last chance to say.
Trying to free your mind. It is this feeling that has brought you to me.
At last.
No judge in U.S. history has ever told somebody what they can and can't say.
The whole purpose of the First Amendment is to keep the government the hell out of the business of speech.
Many of us had to be brought to the brink.
Where are we going?
A lot of us here have calling
I can only show you the door.
to awaken others.
You're the one that has to walk through it.
Spreading a message.
Something's happening, right?
The world is changing every day.
Civilization is weird.
Time is coming.
At a
Train
tipping
can't be stopped. Momentum is already here.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning into the True Perspective on Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, YouTube, and
If
Rumble.
you are
We had-
receiving this transmission,
Oh, I got to
you
turn up my
are the
intro.
resistance.
Sorry.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill. The story ends.
All right. Sorry about that. Do you see me? Are you on? Oh, I can't hear you. Hold on. Thank y'all for tuning in to the True Perspective on Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, YouTube, and Rumble. Listen, it's been a while. I'm using a new platform so it can stream to multiple platforms now. I'm not really using OBS. We're just trying this out. It's on StreamYard, but Tracy, I don't know if you might have to adjust your mic because I don't hear you yet. But that's all right because no one can see you yet, so don't worry. No one can see you yet. I have it minimized, but so once you just toggle with the mic settings. I don't know if you're on a laptop or a phone. Looks like you might be on a laptop, but you can hear me, right? Okay, I see. All right. But anyway, everyone that's tuned in right now, it has been a while. It's been what? It's been episode 56 was about a month and a half ago, roughly. And I haven't been on since. And I know I made a lot of adjustments and a lot of news of things coming on and stuff. So, my friend coming on here, Tracy, we've talked about dreams and lucid dreams and all of this stuff. And I've been kind of diving in for the past few months about the CIA being involved with like remote viewing and lucid dreaming and astral projection and all that stuff. It's the documents are out there. There's a lot of documentation about that stuff, but it's been a long time since I've been on here, and then I'm using a new platform, trying to make this a lot more accessible to people. So right now it's live on Facebook on 3 different pages: on the War page, the Truest Pain page, the True Perspective page. It's live on YouTube, live on X, live on. I tried to go live on Instagram. I don't know. Was being difficult, but it's live on Rumble, and everybody should subscribe to Rumble and X. You can look for me on X, True_Warface, and then everything on Rumble, everything on and on Spotify. It's not live on Spotify. This episode goes later up on Spotify. But how's that mic stuff happening? Oh no, I can't hear you. Maybe is it my end? I'm gonna check to see if it's my end. Hold on. Just all these, first time using these new platforms. It's always like getting the kinks out. It happens. And everyone that's out there, if you can just give somebody give a thumbs up to make sure that you can hear me too. I know that Tracy can hear me, but hopefully everybody else can. And trying to see, I don't have you on mute. Took you off mute. Oh, I see. Hold on a second. Whoops. I think I just booted her by accident. This is what happens, ladies and gentlemen. Hold on, let's see. Anyway, I'm just sending her the invite link again to get her back on. There we go. I think I had you.
Can you hear me?
My bad. I had to add you. I had to actually add you onto the screen.
Oh.
My bad. I'm sorry about that. Tracy, what's up? How you been? How's everything?
Good.
Thank you
Good.
for coming
You know,
on.
the kids are getting big now.
Yeah. Same. Yeah. My son's 3 years old now, and he's like a mini grown man.
Oh,
Mini
yeah,
grown
they
man.
grow up so fast. Enjoy it.
They do. and then the other two, I have a 19-year-old and an 11-year-old also. So they're like big age gaps, but
Yeah, my kids are. They got big age gaps as well too. They're like 5-6 years apart.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
That's about where. Well, I mean, he's about 10 years, something like that from the other two, but or more than that. My math is off right now. I'm not even trying to do that math in my head right now. But yeah, so this is a new platform. Usually I use another platform. It just it would always cut the feed out on people and stuff like that. So this I'm on StreamYard, and I'm able to throw the stream to different platforms that I'm on, or that this podcast is on, and because I'm trying to make as much reach as possible. And I haven't used this, and I've only used this a few times, so I'm still kind of learning it, I guess. I always do it. I just make myself dive into something and just try to learn the program. And sometimes I skip out on the reading part, but yeah, I didn't know that I had to actually add you in. I mean, you were already there because I could see you.
Yeah.
When you're talking, I can't hear you until I actually add you onto the screen. So all right, now that I know that, that's a good thing to know. But yeah, you and I to jump into this, you and I have talked about actually I want to say it was like maybe two, because I know we were going back and forth earlier. I want to say it was like 2 or 3 years ago, somewhere around there. I'd sent you the same dream that
yes, exactly. I remember that dream.
Right, so because I was looking for that, and I was looking for the response that you made, and actually the response today, it just the way that it was said, I guess maybe it resonates more now than it did then.
Yes.
Or from what I remember. And it was, and
because you were like in the beginning of this whole journey as well, like how you're doing everything now.
Yeah.
You're more like a truth teller, pretty much. That's what you've been like that since I met you in Exeter. Yeah, in Job Corps. So
yeah, we are students of EJCA too.
Yes.
Yeah. That's how we know each other. That's the history.
Yeah, that's really old history. Used to rap back then too.
I mean, I still do.
Do?
I do. Like it's been a while since I've actually been able to make and produce music for a while. I still write all the time. I'm still jotting song ideas down all the time. I just can't help it. Things just come to me. But yeah, I mean, I still make music, and that's another focus that I'm trying to throw some more things on, especially now in this, I guess, I want to say coming to Christ moment. You know what I mean? So
yes.
But to give that more of a broader perspective on people. But yeah, that dream. So let me back up here and trying to give some detail on like what the dream that I told you on, and this is a lucid dream. And I've had many lucid dreams, and people that I've talked to, I think I remember you saying stuff. In fact, that's how this is how this podcast became to be anyway, because before you were saying, that you had this way of, or like analyzing the dream or something like that and trying picking out
I've been doing analyzing dreams since I was a little kid. It's just something I used to do, even like in Job Corps. I think I did. What's his name?
Let's name drop right now.
His name. What's his name?
Was it?
We look him up right. We have him on Facebook.
Was it Elon?
We have him on Facebook. I think he just had a baby.
Oh, he had a baby.
He had that little mole right here on the side.
Oh, damn! Now you're testing me.
You know what I'm talking about.
His name's right in my mind right now.
The fact that I can't bring up his name is crazy.
Wow,
but yeah, he's told me one of his dreams, and it was something simple. It was something simple, and I told him, it started with a J. His name.
Man, what's his last name?
Right. He just said Jose Claudio.
Jose, there you go.
Jose, yes.
Yeah,
I
there you
just
go.
saw him
Jose
right now.
Claudio. Shouts to Jose Claudio.
Yeah, it was Jose Claudio. Yeah, he told me like a simple dream about mirror or something towards that. And then I told him, I was like, oh, he was scared of getting older. Like it was something toward, I told him something towards that way. And then he was like surprised at the answer. And he was like, oh, that's actually true. I've been thinking about it. Like he was getting like anxiety or something from, I don't know. It's like the transition from being a teen into adult is, it's tough, So I don't know. It just started like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Even before Job Corps, I was always like looking at my own things since I was a little girl. My mom was spiritual as well. Like she was more into the spirituality. And my father was into, he was like a Jehovah's Witness. It was like complete opposites.
Wow. That must have been a fun household right there.
Oh man, yeah. So
Jehovah's Witnesses are they got their thing. They got their thing. So I mean, what got you into what steered you into what fascinated you to look into dreams and stuff like that, and what was that? What was it about?
The dreams, a lot of the dreams I would have would come true. And I actually will share an experience that I won't drop names in this one because this is a little personal.
Yeah.
So I was working on a project. This just recently happened, like last year, towards the end of the year into now. So I had this dream. Okay, let me backtrack. So I do this fashion show and all this projects and stuff like that. So I work with a lot of people during these projects. And one of the people that I had a dream about was from the people I worked with, which was strange because I don't really, once we do the project, it's like, we're done. We won't see each other till like next year or whatever. You know what I mean? We're not that close. So, but the dream, it made me uneasy. I saw the person like upset. I was like in the POV side of the person she was mad at. And I, when I woke up from the dream, you would think like, oh, nothing of it. But I was like really uneasy. So it made me want to look for her on Facebook. I'm going to say she's a girl. So that's all I'm going to tell you. So I look her up. I don't see her posting anything. So I panic a little bit. I'm like, this is somebody that I know posts all the time. And to me, that's a sign of depression when all of a sudden you're posting all the time and then you disappear. You know what I mean? So I came upon myself to call someone because I don't have her number. So I called somebody that knew her. And I was like, I'm sorry, but I know it sounds strange. I had this weird dream, but can you check on her for me, please? And down the line, they did contact her and there was something going on, but they didn't tell me what it was. But there was something real serious happening. And I hope we got to her in time because, hopefully, I don't know what was going to happen, but it's things like that happened to me. And it's, as I gotten older, I feel like they've been getting stronger. Like some of the gifts I have been getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And it's like I kind of stay to myself now because I've been very sensitive.
Yeah, because it's like because if you interact with more people, it's almost like, what is it called? It's like you're harboring the energy, or they're harboring your energy, or whatever it is.
It's like an exchange of energies. So and I feel like before it wasn't as frequent because I think we were all partying, we were doing this, we were doing that. We were all toxic at one point, but I won't. You know how it was.
Yeah, I mean, we grow from these things, and
we grow from these things, and eventually some of my gifts started getting a little bit stronger, and to the point where it's getting ridiculous. Like sometimes I could pick up people's thoughts, and it's not good.
Yo, that's the weird thing that right, because I never talk about that, and very I never talk about that. That is the one thing where like, and I don't even like saying it this way because it almost sounds like, oh, what is he, schizophrenic or something like that? But
No, I believe we all have the ability to, but again, with this, once we get to the CIA part, I mean, I feel like they suppress humanity with
100%.
TV, Facebook, keep you occupied so you don't develop these skills, these natural gifts that everyone has.
I'm glad that you mentioned that because, and we'll get into that. Well, we don't have to dive into CIA just yet, but like when you said like if you could pick up on people's thoughts, I've legitimately experienced that. It doesn't matter if it's like someone that I actually know. It could be a stranger that it's just like creepy. I hear something said, and it's not like I don't know how to explain it.
It's loud, but it's not your voice.
Yeah,
like, it's weird. Like
it's not like someone's gonna say
focus on that, but then a thought just pops in there.
Someone's gonna say like, oh, that's just voices in your head.
No.
I disagree with that because I almost disagree with schizophrenia actually, or any type of some type of, I mean, I think there are some type of mental things that the human body suffers from, but I just think some things they can be explained in a different way, and we're just beyond the understanding of it. Or I mean, I guess that kind of dives into CIA because if we go that route, all that stuff kind of intertwines with it very, very bizarrely, goes down a dark road. But at the same time, I think these things have been suppressed. What I wanted to say is that
they want to give you medication to get rid of all that.
In history, like people like I think I want to say Galileo or Plato, and even further beyond them. People back then, they didn't really write down a lot. They didn't. I mean, actually, none of them really did. None of them really wrote down. Like during the Egyptian times, I mean, yeah, they wrote on stone and limestone and all that stuff, but they didn't write. Yeah, they didn't write like actual words down. I guess if you could say they had hieroglyphs, if you could consider that words, but a lot of their stuff was like, I want to say that they were telepathic in a way, or their memory was just so strong. It was like they could recall an entire history with their mind and then reverberate it to somebody else and pass that along, so on and so forth. So I'm thinking that is, it's a skill that we've had at some point in human history, and telepathy was like an actual thing. And I really do think, like, if like what you said, like if you can hear someone's thoughts, like you swear you can hear someone's thoughts or something like that, I really think that's like a form of that. I mean, that is a form of telepathy. You can hear, or you can pass a message on. There's another podcast that I've watched or listened to. It's called the Telepathy Tapes, and I recommend anybody that's out there that ends up watching this stuff to listen to that stuff. It's about specifically people who have autism. Now, there's two sides of the conversation that I can go with on autism. I think autism is probably a phenomenon, but also I do think there's environmental stuff that causes it. There's a bunch of things that causes it, but then there's this other thing to it where the human body tends to adapt. For instance, if someone who's deaf or someone who's blind, they may not be able to see with their eyes, but they can feel their way around.
Their other senses are stronger.
So autistic people, I do believe that there's something there where they have an ability to be more, especially the ones who aren't able to have or like inaudible. They what do they call them? Nonverbal. They're able to, and the telepathy tapes, they're mind blowing. Like you could take it for what it is. Like, take everything with a grain of salt, but there's something there where these people are able to communicate in a way that we have lost, I guess. And I think we all have the capability. We've just lost it. So it's interesting that when you said that, that's what triggered that for me, because I never talk about that. I've always heard things and things that, and sometimes I recall, like I'll ask them, like, what did you just say? And they didn't say anything with their mouth.
They didn't say anything. Yeah. Oh my God.
I mean, it's crazy. It's wild. and I literally hear the voice of that person or whoever. And it's I don't know, it's always like, I don't know, that's always been a part of this whole like dream, lucid dream, astral, remote viewing, whatever it is. And I do think there's some substance to it. I
Oh
really
yeah,
do.
absolutely. Again, they want to suppress everyone with technology, keep us, it's
Mhm.
like they want to keep us so busy that we don't focus on ourselves. You know what I mean? And I feel like everyone has the abilities.
Yeah.
The way that they even pick, well, once we get to the CIA part, we'll
Mhm.
we'll go dive deep into there.
So there's Marissa, shout out to Marissa Morrissey for tuning in. She had said, I don't know if she's asking me or you, are you an empath?
Oh yes, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That's
What,
why I have to stay to myself.
okay, so that's basically what an empath, like, is that, because I kind of know what an empath is, like someone who can draw onto somebody else's emotions, traumas, and all that stuff, right?
All
Like
that.
it really kind of comes at you, right? Something to that degree.
Yeah, like I could soak it in.
Mhm.
Yeah, so um I'm just really sensitive. So I feel like when people come around me,
Mm.
they could be like in a shitty mood, but then when they're around me, all of a sudden, because they're taking some of my energy,
Like
so I
a
have to wear
filter.
like certain stones and
You're an
stuff.
energy
Like,
filter. Yeah. No,
yeah,
yeah, I mean, that's another thing too. Like, I really feel like all of these things. I really think that all of these things point towards the human being. We're more spiritual than we are physical. Does that make sense?
yes.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, we're physical. We have thumbs and fingers, and we're
Yeah,
here. But
people think just because his body dies that you don't exist anymore, but I don't believe that at all.
I'm
You just change into a different what frequency. It's
frequency.
a,
There you go.
yes, we
Yeah.
could talk about frequency as well because
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
definitely a
all of
thing.
that stuff ties in together, vibration, frequency, all of
All
this
that.
stuff.
Yes.
And I'll even go, because I do think it all ties in with, I'm not sure, I don't know how far in or how much you know about, Bible. And I'm not here to, because I take things from everywhere, and I
Yes,
try to
that's
I
I do
try
the
to
same.
yeah, I try to form it into this area of what makes the most sense. You know what I'm saying? But I don't exclude everything either. Like, it's kind of like when you got to cut the fat out too, because there's some stuff that's just disinformation. Doesn't that
Yeah, or they put certain things in the Bible. They cut the Bible
Sure,
into
absolutely.
whatever thing that they want to push.
Hmm.
Um you have to read different or read the scriptures that didn't make it in the Bible, that didn't make the cut.
Yeah.
Why didn't it make the cut? There's like I read like the some pieces of like the Apocrypha
Hmm.
and like the Book of Enoch,
Hmm.
and if you read those things, I'm like, wow, like why it there's so much good information in there, and it's like I don't understand why it was. I think it helped females as well because there was things about female, like women in there,
Yeah.
and that was left out. That was actually good.
Hmm.
When I read some of it, I felt seen by God. Just put it like that.
There you go. There you go. Yeah. That's a good way to put that. Yeah, you were seen by God. Yeah.
I feel like they exclude women in like the whole the what is it the son
The
the
Father, the
Father, the
Son,
Son, and the
and the
Holy
Holy
Spirit. The
Spirit.
Holy
Mhm.
Spirit is the female. Nobody tells you that.
Mm.
What do you think? The whole world, you need a female and a man. We were made in the image of God. So
Mhm.
can you exclude the woman? There's no way you could do that. You need both.
There you go.
I'm just saying
There
it's
you go.
true. It's like they hide it with Holy Spirit.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
come on,
I
like
I I do think, yeah. Yeah, actually, you know what? From you saying it that way, that's actually making me think on what that truly means right there, like Holy Spirit.
the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
The Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Huh.
The Holy Spirit is
I haven't
feminine.
I
But if
haven't quite, you know what? I didn't think of it that way until you said that. And I'm gonna dwell on that after this podcast. I'm gonna look farther into that. Because that because there has to be some type of, because they're definitely, okay, we could talk about this right now. if we talk on the if we talk about the, I guess the, you know, the minimum information of what human beings have on this being called, that we so-called God, right?
Mhm.
Creator. In my perception of everything that I've read, especially from the Bible and other parts of cultures and belief systems, whether it be from, you know, the whether it be from Native Americans, whether it be from the Tainos from South America, whether it be from, uh, you know, Europe, Africa, whatever, all of these things, all of them have a source creator being, whatever it may be, whatever they call it. I believe I believe it's the same entity, but and I believe that entity that creates is masculine, but I also believe that a there has to be, now it may not be this, it may not be the same way how we perceive it, but there has to be some type, like what you said, the feminine, there has to be a masculine and feminine energy, so there's a duality there. And I do believe that has to exist, because I wouldn't exist without masculine energy, or
That's insane.
wouldn't exist without feminine energy either. So, and when you said, and here's what's making me think right now. See, now I'm doing it live right now.
This is what I do.
This is good, because when you said we are made in the image of, and then when you said the Holy Spirit would be feminine energy and the Father being the masculine energy, that's making me it's making me think on what that actually means, because many people may not know exactly what that Trinity aspect means. And then when you said that's kind of like, I got to look further into that, because what does that detail? Made in the image of, because man cannot just be made in the image of, you know, just man alone or whatever. I mean, I'm sorry, just, it can't just be that, and then woman comes. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
I
this makes
and I
sense.
get the story itself explains that. I don't know. I'm gonna stop right there with how going further on that for myself. I need to look into. I just never looked at it
You
that
could
way.
compare it to the Egyptians. Like if
Mm.
you correlate the two, you can kind of
Yeah.
just for after if you
Oh
want
yeah, yeah,
to
for sure. No,
research
for
and all
sure.
that.
I'm just stopping myself because I don't want to. I don't want to go too far off based on where I currently stand until I actually like. But I like how that was put, and it makes sense. It does make sense. Um. So, and with all of this though, like going back, what was for you? Like, okay, so actually, you know what? Let's continue on here, on right here, because we could. This is how these podcasts go. They go back and forth. There's just a conversation. I don't
Yeah,
have a
yeah.
prerequisite of like questions. I don't do that. But they just kind of come. Uh, but like, what is your perception when it comes to the terms of like spirituality, the Bible, and uh, you know, y- culture, like your culture, your ancestry, or human ancestry. And when I say your ancestry, I mean like human ancestry, and because we all have our pockets of where that fits in. But like, where do you see, or what do you think all of this is in terms of how we're able to have these abilities of whatever, lucid dreaming or some type of telepathy connection, all this stuff, spirituality.
All right. So a lot of people will ask me, like, am I religious or whatever? I say more spiritual just because I don't like to be put in a little box. I don't, I feel like church kind of separates people
Mm,
in their own little way. As in, if I say I'm spiritual, it's more like demonized
mm,
rather than respected. And like, I don't know what's so evil about me being in tune with myself and with nature. Like I don't understand that part,
mm,
how people look at it that way. And if I'm not religious or if I'm not in a category or something, I'm looked as I'm weird, you know? Like that's my experience. And
mm,
growing up being like that, I was always very nice, people pleasing. I'm not anymore, but growing up, like I received a lot of hate for no reason. Just like I hate for no reason. Just I had a rough childhood. Just say that, okay? And I'm glad I made it. And just like praying the whole time, I didn't have no family friends to really help me like that. I just figured everything out on my own, and with God's help. A lot of the times I would sit alone by myself and like really sit to myself. I would read the Bible and stuff like that. That's how, my dad got me into that. So I am knowledgeable a little bit with the Bible. I didn't read the whole thing, but
Right.
I know the main stories, Um, and that's what like brought me closer to God, is just I always had to handle everything by myself. And I think that made me more in tune and more spiritual, where I look at, I tried not to judge no one else. I feel like people that do go to church are very judgmental sometimes on other people. We don't have the same style of doing things.
Right.
They shun you away. You're supposed to. What happened to loving thy neighbor? You know what I mean? Like, what happened? I don't know. It's just I feel
Right.
like everybody just does something for just showing off. Then it, including church. Oh, just because I go to church, oh, I'm better than this person, or I'm better than that person. Like, no. Are you actually putting in the work? Like, all right, who are you behind closed doors? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
what type of person are you? Are you going behind people, gossiping, doing all this crazy shit? Like, God, you don't believe in God if you're doing those things behind closed doors. And when people talk about like witchcraft and all this other stuff, the words that you speak is witchcraft, because you're bringing whatever you're talking about other people, you're bringing that shit into existence. So that's another form of witchcraft. Just because you're not standing there praying in front of a candle and doing some voodoo shit doesn't mean that you're not doing witchcraft. You looking at somebody's side eye, that's witchcraft. That's the evil eye. When you're jealous and envious, that's all the same thing. People need to understand what they do affects other people.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. Like whatever that you do, whatever that you say, I mean, people could say like, oh, someone's words don't matter, but they do. They're putting it into the ether. They're putting it into the just like you said, like, and energy does affect, you could feel someone's energy. You could feel when someone's over there and like, you looks a little shady.
Looks
She
a
looks
little
a little
shady,
shady.
or they
Or
have like a cloud over their head, and then
yeah,
they
on
come
that
into
too.
the space
Yeah,
and like
yeah, yeah.
drain everyone's energy. I call those
Yeah, yeah.
vampires.
Yeah, yep.
They're always
And
miserable. No matter what you tell them, you could give them good advice, try to hype them up, and no matter what you tell them, they
yeah,
always have an excuse for why they can't do this or why this is like that. It's like,
right.
just leave those people
And
behind.
and the things that I've learned, because I mean I've been to church and a lot of things have woken me up to it. There are some things that I do agree with you on that. Whereas like you can't, yeah, like for
It's not a
whatever reason,
judgment.
for whatever reason, I think that I don't know why it does. It shouldn't, especially in that type of in that type of realm or whatever. That should not be there, because you're there to, you're basically there to worship. You're there basically there to receive answers. Or not even just receive answers, but you're also there to pray for others and make sure that everybody else is good. And I'm
Yeah,
not
it's
saying it.
good.
And I'm not saying that bad energy is always there and that judgment is always there, but maybe it is. I don't, I'm
Yeah.
not saying that it's not. That's actually personally for me what's kept me away from church, you know, basically my entire life. And then, recently I would go and all that stuff and try to get more for a I
Diverse.
actually, yeah, well, more for an understanding actually of people, and I would see it. So I would see it for myself. I was like, okay, I see the legitimacy in some of these people that are there. You could see it and you could feel it. And the conversations that I've had, it's there. It's definitely there. There's a presence there. I'm not much of a fan of, like, I guess, the music aspect of it.
Oh
I
yeah,
get it.
no.
I get it. But for me, I want to hear what's in, what's said. You know what I'm saying? And people could go back and forth on whether or not like what's being said in the Bible is legitimate and translation and whatnot. I totally agree with that part. Like there's many translations of the original translation. We could go back and say, well, is it a translation of an original story that was never written because it was all in the mind? There's a lot of depth to our human history, but to me, there's been a lot of legitimacy in it because of being able to reference from what we're able to actually look into. Sorry, that's my son in the background.
Right, my son's playing video games.
Yeah. So I can't wait till I'm here. So my perception on being able to grasp what the Bible is, and especially when it transitions from all of the prophecies and all of the stuff from the Old Testament into the New Testament, when we start seeing what Christ was actually here to do, a lot of it starts to make sense when we start seeing like things like when we talk about spirituality, when we talk about telepathy, when we talk about healing, when we talk about energies around us. In that part, I mean, it talks about it. Actually, the Bible talks about a lot of these things, but in the New Testament, Christ also talks about these things in parables. There's it's almost like a map, trying to move through a map to what he's trying to actually say.
Yeah.
But I believe that from his travels and from his upbringing, according to the historical Jesus compared to the biblical Jesus, which line up to where he was, he was very privy on a lot of these energies, a lot of these Egyptian what do you call it, the word escapes me right now, but I do think that he learned a lot of things from the human aspect of where our knowledge is. Now, to scale that up on to why would he have to come down here to if he claimed to be the Son of God when he have all that advanced knowledge? That's just another conversation in itself, and it's so much deeper. You know what I'm saying? That's a 3-hour conversation right there, and I don't even think we'll even see the end of it.
We'll be there all day.
Exactly, but to dial it in, to land the plane on where I'm trying to go here is that I do think the Bible has an abundance of knowledge. And yes, I do agree, because myself, as much research that I've done on why there were other books left out, the Ethiopian Bible is really the only Bible that I think holds all of the books together. The Book of Enoch, 1, 2, and 3, Book of the Watchers, all that stuff, the Apocrypha. What's the other one there? There's a Book of James, I think a Book of James or something like that in there. Book of Mary. Now, some of it may not have been kept in the Bible because of they couldn't confirm authorship or something like that, and I think that's partially the reason. But I do think a lot of the bigger reason is because there was a lot of spiritual aspect of it. Like the actual hardcore spiritual aspect of it, being able to know, and this is where it kind of goes in to the CIA conversation.
Yeah,
because the rulers during that time, when anyone rules, like Rome or Greece or any of the major rulerships during that time, they're the controllers of history. They're the controllers of knowledge. You know what I'm saying? And now that we live in this age of technology and knowledge, we're able to kind of access, this is stuff that we weren't told, or this is stuff that was kept from us, rather. Because if we look in if we look in early American history, I'm just going to speak on this briefly, a lot of American history was kept from us. And that was the reason for that was to keep people divided. Or like, this one was a slave owner and this one was a slave. When actually, when before Black Americans ever came to America, they had vast empires. They had
empires.
You know what I'm saying? All that stuff before the South Americans, and they weren't even called South Americans. Yeah, the Moors, the Aztecs. They had vast empires. So to say, so there was a lot of history that was kept from us, and there was a reason for that, to keep us all divided and all that stuff.
Yeah. They're still doing that till today.
Of course.
They're trying to get rid of books now and all stupid, like it's just
Mhm.
ridiculous. We're going
There are
backwards now.
there are some books there are some books that I don't think that need to be included in schools, but that's a whole. I don't even want to go in that conversation. But the books that I'm talking about are the ones that target, these agenda things of
Yeah.
the transgenderism, all that stuff. But we're not going to go there. We don't have to go there
Yeah.
right now because that ain't the podcast. Maybe towards the end we could probably go there. But yeah, I don't believe. But even then, I don't even believe in burning the book burning, because that's happened throughout history, and that's how we lost a lot of our
A lot of the
knowledge
knowledge.
and all that stuff. Yeah. So
Yeah.
how much do you know about what the CIA has been involved in as far as the human, the spiritual aspect of what we perceive of this human journey, of the abilities that we may have and all that stuff? Like how much have you dived in or know that?
Well, I know they should have. I believe they had all this technology and all this way a long time ago. I'm sorry. There's no way it's just coming out now. Like there's no way. They've been aliens, all that. I don't know. But I read weird, crazy stuff that they would do, even in like Russia. I don't know if it was the CIA, but I remember reading something about like Russia trying to make like an army, but they wanted the army to be a lot stronger, so they would try to inject the babies with like some monkey, like the apes or something. They wanted like they had these things going on. They had so I could imagine, never mind like psychic abilities and all that. They've been doing programs and going to schools trying to look for the gifted kids,
special gifted kids.
Gifted kids. Sure. They're looking for them to get help. I couldn't believe some of the stuff that I was reading though. When you told me to go on the page, I was looking and I'm like, wow. I wanted to mention they found someone from America's Most Wanted remote viewing.
Oh yeah. I forgot the name of what this. Yes,
I got the name.
Go ahead.
Sam Burchard or something like that. And then I was trying to find the information a little bit more. Like I wanted to see the episode because they said it was number 46, but I couldn't. There's different seasons and I couldn't find it.
What was it? Episode 46 or?
That it didn't specify. It just said America's Most Wanted number 46.
I remember that show too.
I tried to look it up, but the only information I got was that he was a pilot and drug smuggling pilot, marijuana, cocaine since the 1970s, right? And then they located him. They couldn't find him for years, and they located him.
And they used the remote viewer.
Yes, and the way I was reading some of the how they would train them. They wouldn't really specify how they train them, but they would pick them from these specific traits, which was supposedly good. What makes a successful remote viewer is the traits are confident, outgoing, adventurous, broadly successful, and with artistic bent. I don't know what that means, but
artistic bent.
That's exactly what they said on their page. And it was a mixture of military and civilians.
Yep.
So they used some military and some civilians who, I'm assuming the civilians were the ones in the classrooms in the schools or whatever that they would pick out, or professionals in whatever field.
There's that I do remember. I don't remember all of the details of that case, but there's the FBI and has used these so-called psychic people with psychic abilities, whatever they call it, psychic abilities. And the reason why they use psychic abilities is because it was throw off the public, like, oh, this is like Nobody,
Yeah.
all that stuff that's all crazy, wild stuff. But when you look into the documentation of like the CIA had dived into, it's called Project Looking Glass, I think it is.
There was so many projects that they had.
There's many, but two of them that stand out is Project Looking Glass and Project Stargate, and they both kind of intertwine with each other. Project Stargate was like, now when you look this, okay, so let me just warn anybody that hears this when they look it up, it's going to be like, oh, it's a wild conspiracy of people thinking that for instance, Project Stargate has this ability to like time travel and being able to, I'm sorry, I'm actually confusing the two right here because they kind of intertwine with each other. Project Looking Glass is basically if you ever seen The Wizard of Oz, where the witch is looking at the crystal ball, the whole crystal ball. So that's the idea of what Project Looking Glass is, but only it's in the mind. It's like the person is able to project themselves into whatever timeline, whatever future or past. I think it's only the past that they can see, that they tell us, because there's nothing definitive in the documentation, but it may indicate that the CIA has been able to use these people to look into the future in order to gather information and the technology. And that's a whole other conversation too, because and I think it ties in with it, right? With this is because of the technology that we're starting to see that comes out, like, what are the orbs and shit flying around, and why have they been here this whole time? So is it alien? Is it not alien? Is it us? So, but Project Looking Glass is basically what the FBI have used people that can, it's kind of like a last resort program, but they use these people to try and see like, oh, can they solve these murders, or is there a serial killer, or is there somebody smuggling drugs or whatever.
They're using it for more than that. They're using it.
Of course,
Yeah,
they're using it for more than
they're
that.
more like political stuff.
Oh yeah. So have you ever heard of the Mandela effect?
Yeah, I've heard of it, but I'm not too familiar.
So, all right. So the Mandela effect is, I believe, how it started was that Mandela. So Nelson Mandela was a South African revolutionary, and of South Africa. The reason why Mandela effect is a thing is because people thought that he had died like in the 90s or something like that. Something along those lines. I myself thought that. I believe he died in 2013, somewhere around there. I think it was 2013. And so what stems from that is that what's the importance of the Mandela effect is that people think that there's a timeline shift. Things like the Large Hadron Collider, there's another machine out there. I think it's in Sweden.
Not CERN.
CERN. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. So it's a particle collider. It's trying to find the God particle and all that stuff. People think, conspiracy-wise, and I do think there's some substance to it, because I don't know why you would build a multi-billion-dollar machine underground that's a big circle that encompasses 4 countries, I think it is, 4 country borders. And they're building a bigger one now, which is, I don't know. So there has to be something in it, and I think they're looking. What they're trying to do is build like a. Okay, I don't know this for sure, but from research, from looking at evidence, from looking at interviews and all that stuff, it appears that they're trying to build some type of physical way to manipulate time, or build a portal to go from one time point to another, or to be able to go in interdimensionally. Dimensions have been talked about. I know I feel like this is going all over the place, but I feel like all of the spirituality stuff intertwines. It really does intertwine with this conversation, because I really, from how I look at it, is that I think it was like 2012 or it was like 2015, 2014. D-Wave, which was like an affiliate, or is an affiliate with Google, they were talking about this guy Giorgio. I don't know his last name, but if you look it up, it's like a 20-minute seminar that on YouTube. Look up D-Wave. Anybody that's out there after the podcast, he's talking about being able to extract resources from another dimension. They were talking about that in like 2014, 2015.
You could imagine. You could
The
imagine.
CIA, oh, of course. The CIA, actually science, including the CIA, was already talking about multidimensional, like there's multi-dimensions in the 60s, in the 50s.
Happening all at the same time, too.
All at the same time, or something along those lines. We're here now in 2025, and we have artificial intelligence. We have possibly quantum mechanics working right now alongside artificial intelligence. All of that was science fiction back when we were kids.
Yeah, we have flying cars now.
Yeah, there literally is flying cars now. They may not be mass produced, but there's so there's some. So what they're trying to do, in my opinion, they're trying to bring the spiritual aspect of what we're capable of in a physical sense in this 3D world that we live in. And I do believe that we live in this 3D, 4D, 5D, so on and so forth type of world. Which is why I'm convinced, like, when this body dies, it may die here. It may appear that it dies here, but it moves on somewhere else. What occupies it moves on somewhere else. So, man, this conversation, this type of conversation is so wild. Like it's so vastly interesting, but it's like there's so much to it.
Yeah, and every angle of it.
So let me real quick. I'll land this plane real quick, and then I'll let you comment on it. The Mandela effect basically is where there's a time change, or there's a manipulation in time. So, for instance, was it Bernstein Bears or was it Bernstein Bears? Do you remember the book?
So yeah, but the same thing happened with that movie. With that movie.
Forrest Gump?
Not with Forrest Gump. I think he played a genie or something, and everyone was like, "No."
Shazam.
It's just they say that movie didn't exist or something like that.
Was it Shazam? I think it was Shazam, and it was supposed to be. Oh, damn, what is his name? He was a comedian.
Yeah, he was.
Hold on, I got the internet right here. Hold on.
He was tall, light skinned.
Yeah. Sinbad.
Yes.
That's what his name was. Sinbad. And I remember that he played a genie in a movie.
And they were saying that movie didn't exist or something like that.
That movie never happened. They said something to do with Shaq, which there is a movie that Shaq had played in, but I remember specifically that Sinbad played that. It's weird. It's
so weird, right?
It's very strange.
I saw the movie too, and I'm like, yo, that existed. What do you mean it didn't exist?
100%. And there's another thing, and a lot of these so-called Mandela effects are very subtle, like things like that. Lines in a movie, Forrest Gump saying, "Life is like a box of chocolates." That's how I remember it.
So what are they trying to say it is now?
So hold on, I'll pull that up right now.
That's
in the movie, I think he says box. I think he said,
"Life is like a box of chocolates."
Yeah, hold on.
A box of I remember that line.
Forrest Gump, box of chocolate. Hold on. Quote. Supposedly, okay, so it says, "My mama always said life was like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get." I remember it as life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. That's how I remember it.
I don't know. See? So that's like a Mandela effect.
If that ain't convincing enough, I know Star Wars. I don't know if you're a Star Wars fan or ever been a Star Wars fan. There's, yeah.
I definitely seen a movie. The old school. I never seen none of the new ones, but the old ones, yes.
All right, so the older movie, I don't know. I wonder if I could pull this up on screen. Hold on. I think I can. Give me a second here. Can I share? I think I can share. Yeah, I'm gonna share screen. Hold on. So Star Wars. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So Star Wars, this is the character here. Hold on, let me pull an actual good image. I'll pull this one. So the character here is called C-3PO, and this is like old school, the old school.
Did he have a silver leg? I don't remember him having a silver leg.
No, I never remembered him at. Oh, it's gonna play a video. I don't want to play a video.
They're trying to say he has a silver leg.
I personally never remembered him. So I don't know if you can see this image. Hold on, I'm trying to pull it up here for everybody to see.
That's crazy.
Hold on a second. So see, yeah. So see Mandela. That's Mandela right there, and that's the basis of like how we have this so-called Mandela effect. All right, if you could see this right here that I'm putting cursor over. So right here, this is how I remember him. That's C-3PO. That's old. This is old school Star Wars. That's like some of the first movies, like the first movie.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, all of the movies, from what I remember, he had a full gold body.
I thought he was all gold, the whole time.
I always remember him gold. I never ever remember him as having a silver leg, which is over here. I never remember that. A lot of people don't remember it like that. And I grew up watching old school Star Wars. Like that was like one of my favorite. It was like basically one of my favorite movies. Like probably my all-time favorite movies growing up as a kid was Star Wars. Like, you know,
we all watched it. That was like the bomb when it first came out.
Star Wars is still dope. It's still dope. I like some of the games that came out too, but I mean, I haven't like really dived into it like that over the years, like as I got older. But Star Wars is definitely better than Star Trek, in my opinion.
I can agree. I can agree with that. Sorry, guys, whoever was a fan.
What's that? Star Trek?
Whoever was a Star Trek fan. Sorry.
Star Trek had some dope stuff, but like, I mean, I'm sorry, Star Trek had some dope stuff, but Star Wars was way better. But yeah, so stuff like that. There's also quotes from like different movies too on the Mandela effect, where Darth Vader says, "Luke, how I remember it, Luke, I am your father."
What are they trying to say it is now?
Yeah. Hold on, I'll pull that up too, just so we can. Let's see, Darth
Vader. I'm gonna comment right after.
What's that?
I'm gonna make a comment after you look that up.
All right, let me share this. Because can you hear that?
Yeah.
Okay.
You are beaten. It is useless to resist. Don't let yourself be destroyed as Obi-Wan did. There is no escape. Don't make me destroy you. Luke, you do not yet realize your importance. You have only begun to discover your power. Join me, and I will complete your training. With our combined strength, we can end this destructive conflict and bring order to the galaxy. I'll never join you! If you only knew the power of the dark side. Obi-Wan never told you what happened to your father. He told me enough. He told me you killed him. No. I am your father.
So see, he says, no, I am your father. But I remember in the movie when I watched it, it says, Luke, I am your father. So you like a subtle change between Luke and.
Do you think they're just fucking with, like, they could be fucking with us? Like, for example, like.
I mean, if they are, they're doing quite a bit of a job because there's so many things out there.
It's crazy. Like, I feel like this could be like a brainwashing all of us into thinking it's something else now. I don't know. It has to be something like MK Ultra or something.
Well, yeah. I mean, I do think that there's some degree of like, they're doing it to see like if they're able to change things. If that is the case, you know what I'm saying? Like, so for instance, if they're testing things, they're going to test things that are subtle, right? So if they could even things on a movie, things that people know that grew up with, or say instead it's no longer Jiffy peanut butter, it's Jif peanut butter. I remember it as Jiffy peanut butter. You know what I mean? So things like that, like little small things like that. I think we're still in the same. I don't know what I think or what I feel about if there's. I think there's multi dimensions, but I don't think there's like a million me's running around in different scenarios. I think what's happening is seamless. I do think that there are different dimensions, but there's this 3D and then there's this 4D and 5D and 6D and so on and so forth. I think it's all linear with that. I mean, there is a possibility that there may be another dimension of myself making another choice where this conversation is completely different or never happens or whatever, possibly. But if that's the case, then what's the point of even having this conversation? You know what I'm saying? So like, could be because there's a soul attached to this in my belief. And I think there's evidence of that. I can't prove it, but I do think there's evidence of that. And I do think that that's the reason why we're able to have the capability of having this, of having an extrasensory perception type of conversation with people that we, even ourselves are freaked out about, to a sense, because it's like that's just something that we've been told that shouldn't exist. Where I feel like that's how we've always existed, and yet we've been suppressed to it. So it's coming back to that. It's coming full circle back to that conversation of where you were saying, like in Egyptian times, I do think that it's very simple on how the pyramids were built. I think they had some form of technology, but I also think their minds were
advanced,
way advanced. Like, and we have it, but it's almost like human evolution has devolved rather than evolved.
Yeah, it's purposely made that way because the elite people want it that way. Like whoever wants this power, money, or whatever. There's only a few people that actually run the entire world. Like they have like most of the money or something like that.
There's like 13 families.
Exactly. Like that's doesn't that sound crazy? 13 families
in
the entire world. Like that's crazy. But it's like they suppress. I feel like they're suppressing everyone with the food, the stuff that they put in the food, our water. Never mind technology. All these things is just it helps us. It helps them dumb us down.
Mm-hmm. What do you think? What do you think's the reason for them to do that? Like why? Like that's always been probably one of my number one questions when I have conversations like this. Because I guess I have my own idea of why, but I always like other people's perspective on what is it. Okay, let me ask you this: do you think that it's human on what is actually suppressing human beings, like as a society, as an entire society? I'm talking about the 8 billion people that are on the planet, and there's like a fraction that actually controls of what the populace is. Is it human on what's doing that? And for what reason?
I don't think so. It can't be human, because if you're human, I think you'll at least have some type of empathy towards the humanity or something. And these people don't care. Look at the pharmaceutical, like, we have cures for the diseases. Cut it out. It's all in nature. You guys just want money. You guys don't care. It's all, I feel it's about power, some type of slavery. They want us just like doing their dirty work, pretty much, while they get to sit back and, I don't know, eat whatever. And never mind CERN. Let's talk about weight. You mentioned CERN.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They also control weather as well. So
HAARP.
It's like,
yep.
Oh, HAARP. I'm sorry, it's HAARP. Yeah, you're correct.
Yep. And chemtrails. Yep.
HAARP, and then they're able to like if they could make a plane look like, they fall from the sky if they wanted to. If they really, really wanted to drop a plane, like, no problem, make it look like an accident, they could do that. They could do that. They have the power to do that. So it doesn't sound human to me. I don't know. Because why would it just doesn't make sense to me. It got to be more than that.
I agree. And that's why, and that actually points me, it always points me more towards that this is more of a spiritual battle than we actually bear to understand. Like, legitimately, I do think, and what I mean by spiritual battle, it's as much physical as it is spiritual, because from everything that I believe in, everything that I've researched, everything that I've confided in, and I believe that there's a creator, and I believe that he listens, and I think that this is a realm of both consequences and both the pathway out of here. Like, there's a way out of here, and I'm not talking about a way out of here as in check out, like avoid that at all costs. If you can't, like, avoid that at all costs. And we've all been there. I myself, I'm okay with talking about, things of where, dark places and all that stuff, and where life leads you. And I understand it, because life is hard. It definitely comes at you in a way where it's the easier way out is the way out. But what I'm saying here is that, and that's part of the spiritual battle on the physical self, is being made to give up, being made to be overwhelmed and all that stuff, being made like, oh, there's no hope. And I'm actually more optimistic than I am pessimistic to the state of the world, despite what the world looks like. Yes, there's massive oppression, there's racial disparity, there's whole nations being decimated for their belief systems and all that stuff. So there's famines that shouldn't even be happening in the world that we are in the technological world. There should be zero on this planet should be starving. Zero. Like, if you told me like this was 150 years ago or whatever, and people were still trying to get their, trying to be able to, support other nations and all that stuff, I could understand where like starvation happens. Maybe if it was 1,000 years ago, starvation happens. Today, it should not.
It shouldn't happen. Yeah.
It shouldn't even be a thing, and yet it is. Even in America, believe it or not, in America, people starve. Not as much in other nations where they're like being completely decimated by Western civilization and all that stuff. But anyway, but see how these conversations go. It all ties.
That's why we exist, because we need to balance the scales. The scales are right now are like this. We need to balance and bring it more like this, because it's just getting ridiculous. Like how the world's where the direction the world is going right now. It's just ridiculous. Like, people need a reality check, come down from wherever they're at. Everything is about me. They're not really focusing within themselves. They're looking like outside validation. Like, they're being more controlled. Everyone's just being controlled. It's like the blind leading the blind here. Everyone's fucking interested in just Facebook, that outfit, the latest outfit. That nobody cares about what's going on within. Nobody wants to fix themselves. Be the. My thing is, if you don't see a change, be the change. Be the change that you want to see in the world. Like, don't think I'm gonna sit back and that's it. Like, that's it. I hope it works out. No, we have to fight. We got to be vocal. You got to go out there, fight for your rights, do all these things. I feel like certain people were put in this planet, like us, or to change the vibration of the planet, because this is getting ridiculous. And I think they're taking out a lot of people too. I feel like certain people are being taken out. It's just people are dying for no reason. It's just getting ridiculous. Never mind the things that are going on now with the Diddy trial, but that's a whole different other.
Yeah, I mean, how I look at that, even if a lot comes from that, even if a lot of people are taken down from the Diddy trial, which I want, if there's legitimacy to it, what about the Epstein files?
That's what I'm saying. What happened to the guy with the island, Jeffrey?
Right.
Yeah, his island. So he killed himself, and then nothing, no list. There was a list of people. You know why? Because the people, it's probably like the people that are in the government, politicians or whatever, it has to be involved, because why none of these documents came out?
100%.
Right. Like, he had a whole private island. Guy, I could just imagine the terror that was going on to some of the little girls. I'm sure they were trafficking girls, boys, everything.
There's so, and the thing is, like, that's not even the only pedophile ring that exists. There's current ones that exist right now. Even in Rhode Island alone, there's been people that have been, like, 300 plus people have been busted over the years on these trafficking rings and all that stuff. So it exists here in America, and I guess and I think America is one of the top producing trafficking.
Yeah, there's police officers behind it. There's politicians behind it. All these people that are hiding behind badges and the government, acting like they really care. Why don't you use some of the remote viewing to go find these people? Oh no, because you're gonna be remote viewing yourselves.
Yo, 100%.
You know what I mean? Like,
that's
y'all
the
don't
thing.
want to comment that out,
Exactly. And I really think that's why, like, all of those files haven't coming out. Now, it could be one or two things. If you're someone that has I don't even want to say benefit of the doubt, because that doesn't even exist when it comes to government corruption, but there is a possibility that all of the information that is currently under investigation, supposedly, is being held against people for some type of leverage. Now, if that's the case,
that's actually a good. Yeah, that's what.
That's a possibility. That is a possibility.
They are. They are. America's known for being shiesty.
Of course. However, we know, and maybe I don't have the evidence or the proof to present right now, right here, and just blast it out. But we know by having common sense that there are people within the U.S. government, within politicians, within the police force, within the army, so on and so forth. People of high positions, high lawmakers are involved in these things. And if those secrets were ever to be revealed, I mean, it would take the whole country down. I'm okay with the whole country going down as long as it goes down, because people who
there's so many of them there already. I don't know. They would have to make a real big mistake to get caught. You're like red-handed out there for them to really. I don't know, because they got money too. They could easily pay people to shut up.
Well, that's another thing too. Yeah, that's what I mean. That's the Clintons are known for having people killed because of, people know too much. Apparently, Barack Obama, his chef died. I don't know if you heard that story.
I saw that.
It's quite a possibility that he may have known some things. I mean, I don't know if Michelle if Michelle Obama is a man or not. I don't know if I can't prove it, but there's a lot of stuff that points towards it. I can't say that she is or he or whatever, but it's weird. And I say weird as in like it's not like weird like yo that person just is a weirdo. No, it's weird. There's some strange things that are going on with all of these types of people. And that's where and that's where it comes back to where like all of this is like legitimately a spiritual battle. Let me bring it back real quick though. Because I want to know what you think that when we receive these types of dreams, like for instance, let me briefly say what the dream that I told you about on when I had the dream of. So the dream that I had was where like there was like this van bus type thing, and I want to say it was more of a van, but it was like a bus too. I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. They how it relays information to you, but at the time there was a girl I was dating when I had this dream, and so what made it more real, she was able to recall this dream almost in the same exact detail that I had, which that's what gave me a little bit of like what is this, what because that didn't really happen to me before. And there were other dreams that she was able to recall, which it was just strange, but this one in particular was, there was a bunch of children in there. They were like, I didn't explain it. I don't know if I put this in detail when I had sent the message to you, but there were also elderly people in there. There were people that just weren't, and there were other people there in there that were just genuinely scared, just, didn't have the fight in them, whatever it was. So in this bus, and then we're being tailed by like a truck, and these two guys are in there. One of them's like a younger guy, maybe in his 20s or something like that. And at the time, I'm probably like, mid 30s, somewhere around there. And there's another guy he's got to be either around my age or he's like 40s, but he's a bigger guy. He's more of like a rugged, more rugged guy, more of a darkness in his eyes type guy. Like he definitely seen some stuff. The other kid was like, he was tough, but I'm kind of going a little bit too fast here. So the bus is being tailed, and we flip over, or something like that. We kind of flip over. That's how I recall the dream. And across from us, there's this building. I want to say it's a school, but I remember it as like a brick building. It reminded me of like an old,
like a
not an old, yeah, but it reminded me of like a school type building. And so when that happens, these guys come out, and they're I can only assume based on feeling that they want resources, or they want to take these people in, or whatever, and these kids and all this stuff. So I don't want to allow that to happen. So I'm telling this girl to, take everybody else and just run. And I'm fighting this guy that's, there's two guys here, but I'm fighting him, and it's only me and him at first. And then I end up beating. It's crazy because I can, it's almost as though I was actually there, and I could see myself, beating this person, and until he doesn't move anymore. People can use their imagination. And so it moves from that to where, like, I know that and they're all armed. I'm armed as well, but I'm not using it yet because I'm unable to somehow, for whatever reason. And then this other guy, he comes at me, and it's like, almost like to where I like lose. I basically lose, and I end up getting shot in like the rib area or something like that. But I'm hurt. I'm like really hurt. Like we were fighting, and I'm like really hurt. And I end up, I think, like, I don't know if I think I remember stabbing at him or whatever like that in his leg or some stuff. And I think I shot at him too or whatever. I hurt him too, but I'm definitely hurt. So from that, in this dream, this is all a dream, by the way. This is not something that actually happened.
Yeah,
Anyone that's listening, but it feels like it was because it feels like as though I was there. Like it's as real as I'm having this conversation with you. Put it that way. Like that's how lucid these dreams that I have are. And so anyway, he takes off running into this like field area, this wooded area, and I'm thinking to myself like he's gonna come. He's gonna if he lives, he's gonna be able to come back with more people and probably do more damage. I'm not gonna be able to do anything about it. So I go after him and I'm running and I'm trying to run anyway because I'm hurt, but I'm going after him. And then and in the end, I end up catching up to him and I end up, taking him out. Right. So
You overcame the
yeah,
obstacle.
right. So when you analyze that now, do you think now based on like from that dream actually being recalled a bit by somebody else and from what you were saying to me, what is that? Like what exactly because from what you were saying, this was actually something that like I was overcoming, but it was going to be very difficult. So like I'll let you tell your response to that. But like, what do you think that is if somebody else can actually recall certain details in a dream that you were able to relay?
So you mean to tell me did she have the same dream as you, or she just?
Yeah. So she remembers so from my memory, this was a few
Oh,
years
so
ago.
she jumped. That's possible. You could jump into somebody's dream.
Right. So from my memory, she remembers that there were children, that there was a van, that there were two other guys there to do bad things. And then she remembers me fighting. I had to fill in the other gaps of the detail, but she remembers those things. Yeah.
And that was your girlfriend at the time,
At
right?
the time, this was years ago.
Yeah. So that's probably why that's probably why she's probably empathic as well. But when you're with someone, usually you could kind of sense and feel the same. People don't think like when you're intimate with someone, you actually are exchanging each other's DNA. So you pull on each other's energy. So she probably pulled on your energy, and the fact that she was able to do that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I thought that was a
A
very
little
strange thing
freaky,
to do.
but cool.
Right. So now, but with that, like, what would, based on what you were telling me, like, what is that? Is that just is it a message of, because I do believe like what you had sent to me on like being able to like wanting to overcome or having the ability to overcome, but knowing that the things are going to be difficult, knowing that you're trying to help and save people, like that resonated to me almost like
because in
much.
the dream you were trying to bring people to safety. You know what I mean? Like you got to look at that too. And then it was a very diverse people. Like you had kids, you had elderly, so you're reaching different people. That's how I view it. This is how I'm interpreting you telling me the dream.
Yeah.
And then and I mean if it resonated with you. It's just so quick. And when I gave you the answer to that, I was actually like at work. And I quickly like I don't know, it just comes to me very easily. I've been doing it since I was a little girl, so it's just easily I'll pick up on things. Like I'll tell people too, you could even write your dreams down so you'll learn how to do it yourself. And then you could also, while you're dreaming those lucid dreams, like pay attention to your surroundings, pay attention to the color. If you could remember anything, the fact that you remember that much detail is because you were meant to remember it.
Right. And this happens to me a lot. Like I'm able to, not every dream that I have, it's always like it's typically like an important dream, like what I just described, down to the detail where I could smell the air. Like I know it's around. Like I
and
remember
then you
smelling.
told me it felt like an apocalyptic kind of vibe. I've
Yeah,
had
yeah.
dreams like that too. So I'm wondering if in the future there's gonna be something crazy popping off. You know, you just, the way the world's going right now, I wouldn't even put it past people.
I'll give you another one. I believe that I was able to see some of the events that had unfolded during like the BLM and what's that other
All
group
right.
there?
Hands up, don't shoot.
No, not that. Antifa. The
Oh,
when the BLM and Antifa riots that ended up happening shortly after, I believe it was like, I think it was shortly after George Floyd, or it could have been, yeah, it was after George Floyd. Um, and I remember the precinct in, I think Chicago. Was it Chicago? I remember specifically a precinct being burnt down. It was a police
there
precinct.
was a lot of places
Yeah,
being burned down at that time.
there was a lot of them. Yeah. I um damn it. I can't remember the town or the city rather.
It could have been
I,
Chicago. I remember like the fire in the back and somebody like in the middle. But I can't remember what city, but it was happening all over. It had to be
it was
around
it was
George.
happening all over. Yeah, it was right around the George Floyd stuff. Yeah. Actually, it was. I believe it stemmed from that.
Yeah.
And obviously, Trump was in office and all that stuff during this time. This was his first term, and towards the ending of his first term. And I remember having a dream prior to any of that, being able to look. I was overlooking like this cliff type area, and it was sort of semi wooded area, but not quite. But I was overlooking like this city line type area where I was watching buildings burn and
Wow.
people in like an uproar. Like I felt the energy of that, and I was with a few people, and we were just kind of on looking, like just making sure, like we were good, but whoever that was,
Wondering
but
what's going
wondering
on
yeah,
over there.
exactly what was going on over there, and like what was that about, and like do we go or do we stay here and all that stuff. So um yeah, I mean, I and that was like very lucid dream because I could smell the burning, and I could smell the burning. I could hear people. It was just bad energy. Just people were like angry, like a lot of anger.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean,
So when it starts getting tough, I recommend everyone to just stay indoors. I feel like right now they're feeding a lot of people a lot of hate. Like they want to divide people more,
yeah,
and I just advise everyone just to stay indoors. Don't even pay mind to your family. Take care
yeah,
of your family. Right now is not the time to be going out and partying. Honestly, I feel bad for you young folks right now, but a lot of things are happening
yeah,
with big crowds. I notice when there's big crowds
absolutely.
around, there is always something crazy. Like I can't believe that happened in what was it, in New Orleans? The guy just rammed through. It was like around the
Oh yeah, yeah,
football.
yeah.
That was crazy. There was like police officers right there, just ramming through people. Like we we wasn't seeing none of these things back in the day.
Right. No, yeah, for sure. And then there's just a lot of random. There's a lot of random like, and I'm not even talking about like like just like a lot of random shootings or stabbings or whatever, and not just a small amount of people, like just somebody that has a disagreement, just somebody just you know I don't know. It's like people are having these episodes of like
People are
rage or
depressed.
whatever.
It's the way everything's set up too. It's like you said, spiritual warfare. Like
Yeah.
they are feeding us so much crap that some people, get intimidated. They feel like they're not part of the crowd, or they feel out of place. So I feel like some people, they get depressed over time, and then they take it out on everyone else. I think that's what's
Mhm.
really happening. Like it's all this technology and all this. None of this stuff happened back in the day when we didn't have all this phones and all this stuff, touch screen.
Yeah.
People weren't shooting up schools.
Right.
I had an older friend. He was telling me that they used to bring guns to school just in case something would happen, but they wouldn't shoot the people. That was
Yeah.
allowed actually back in the day. You could go strapped anywhere. And I was like, oh
Mhm.
wow, he was up there. He was definitely
Oh,
like an
like
elder. he was talking
And
about
all
the
that.
old school, the old school times.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then now it's like, what the
Probably
hell?
roll up there with a shotgun in the back seat and it wouldn't be a problem,
Right.
you know what I mean?
And just
Yeah,
go
yeah.
home, like no problem.
Mhm.
But now I feel like with everything going on, the technology, it's depressing because nobody's spending time outside anymore. Nobody's really, unless it's like, oh, okay, I don't count going to the club and being outside like that. That to me, you're not spending time with yourself. You're not
Right.
for example, too, I have I'm gonna say a friend that she's all into church. She's like very Catholic and everything. She's super nice lady.
Mm-hmm.
But then she lives with, like, she's telling me she lives with anxiety and all this. If you're such a great person, and all that, why are you suffering with anxiety? It's because of things that you're watching. You're not taking time to even meditate. Take a second for yourself. There's so much crap that's coming at us every
That
single
you
day.
love or something. Yeah.
Yeah, go outside, lay on the freaking grass, take off your shoes, hug a tree. God damn it,
Mm-hmm.
like spend time outside. Like
I
people
really
don't want to
think.
do nothing, and then they wonder why they're so depressed and, oh my God, I'm so anxious, because you're not giving your body time to just be, like, just relax. You stop thinking about the future, stop thinking about the past, be in the present moment and just take a second and just relax. It is what it is. You can't do nothing about the future. You can't do nothing about the past. Stay in the present. People are also go crazy with, like, the politics and all this. And why are you
Yeah.
going to drive yourself crazy?
I'm a victim of that too sometimes.
You're going to drive yourself crazy. Like, honestly, all we can
Yeah.
do is really try, like what we're doing now, talking to people and, try to make people vibrate at a higher level than what they're at right now. A lot of people are on low vibrational state where they're in like a panic, or they live in fear, or I don't live like that. I'm sorry, I can't. You always see me with a smile. Even if I have a bad day, you always see me with a smile, and you won't see me mad for very long. You know what I mean? People that want to have that energy or hold that energy for a long time, and then they wonder why to the next day they're having a bad day. You're attracting what you're attracting. That's, you want to stay mad. Oh, that's what the universe is going to give you. Like, some more problems to be mad at.
No, yeah, I agree with that. No, for sure. Like you're gonna attract what you put out, for sure.
Yeah.
And if all you're putting out is fear and anxiety and all that stuff, that's all you're going to receive. And yeah, I do think that, like, even for myself, I try to, I really, I mean, even now, so as a father and all that stuff, like I try to stay away from. I'm compelled to know what's going on in the world. Like, I have to know what's going on in the world. I want to. I legitimately want to, but at the same time too, I don't want it. I don't allow it anymore to consume within me. You know what I'm saying? But I have to be aware of what's going on, because I want to be ahead. I'm always been the type that I want to be ahead of something, even if I don't have full control over what that is. Like, it's going to come no matter what, but I want to try my best to be at least ahead of it, to the best that I can be. And I think that's just like the protector in me and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, I would, like, you said something important, is like, have your feet touch the grass, or be out there. I really, really, really think that's the problem with our society as a whole. Like, even if you live in the city, you grew up in the city or whatever, I really think our natural roots resonate towards the
Go in the
nature.
woods, right?
Yeah,
Go in the woods.
go in the wood. Like you said, hug a tree. I really think like that matters. I think that matters to the human body.
Go on a trail, take a walk,
Yeah.
do something besides the same going to the club every weekend, or doing
Yeah.
it. Like, it's, come on, and you're wondering why you're freaking anxious and things ain't working out for you. You're not even focusing on what you can't even manifest correctly, because you got all this junk coming at you from whatever you're watching or doing. But I want to bring up
Bring anything up.
one thing.
Okay.
So, okay, so you know how like the CIA and all that, and how I was saying that I feel like they're controlling us like with food and
Oh yeah.
subliminal messages in movies. Like that's a thing. That's a
Yeah.
thing. Subliminal messages in movies, music.
Mm.
Um People think that's the joke, but it's a real thing. Um I try to use that. I use a frequency to quit smoking. So
Mm.
I looked up frequency music, healing music, and some frequency music that has subliminal messages, and that's what helped me quit smoking. I'm going on
Wow.
5 years not smoking not one cigarette, and
Nice.
honestly, it's pretty much like I brainwashed myself. I just woke up one day, and all I did was 15 minutes a day. I just listened to you can even be doing dishes, just put it on, listening to it like 15-20 minutes every
Mm.
day made a difference. I didn't think it did, but it really did make a difference in my life. And people think it's, oh no, that's fake. Or this is someone I used to smoke. I was 14 years old and I'm
Mhm.
36 now. Okay. It was a struggle to quit smoking cigarettes for me. Okay. And the fact that I could brainwash myself into quitting.
No, that's good. That's awesome actually, yo. Like from doing it that way. I used to smoke too, and I think I'm what 12 years now.
Wow.
I think somewhere around there. Yeah, 10, 12 years sober from nicotine.
Yeah,
Um,
it was hard.
although
It was
although
hard.
every once in a while I do like a cigar, but that's a little different. You don't have to inhale that. But that's beyond that, that's super rare. But yeah, cigarettes, like it was like 2 packs a day for me. And it's like,
Oh
yeah,
yeah, you needed to.
yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, I feel like there's good and bad things about the whole. But I know how the CIA is targeting, like us with the whole subliminal messages and have people like watching all these. I don't, I don't watch TV.
Yeah, I don't want
I don't really watch TV. I have a big screen TV. Like the kids barely watch TV. They watch whatever on YouTube, but I honestly don't watch TV. I quit years ago. So what I was trying to say is yeah, I quit smoking cigarettes. I use frequency music. That really helped. And what they're doing to us, you could kind of manipulate it and use it for yourself. Like if
mm,
it worst comes to worst, if you want to wake up yourself, I would recommend just using frequency music to do it. You want to awaken your chakras, just lay there. You don't even got to do nothing. Just lay
mhm,
there, put that thing on, and the frequency of the music will program your brain. You don't
mhm.
got to do nothing. You don't even got to think. Just the tunes, let it vibrate, and it'll do its thing.
Is it a specific music or like
There's different frequencies. I'll show you right now.
is it like does it like revolve around like nature sounds or something like that resonating on
It
a
depends. Some have nature sounds, some are different, some have like bell noises, but then there's different subtle ones that it almost sounds like almost like static, but it's not.
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. All right. I think I know what you're talking about. I think I've
Kind
heard.
of,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but it's not. It's hold on, frequency music.
And then like the actual frequency of itself.
There's different kinds, like there's 432 hertz, five.
Yeah, 432 hertz. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of 432 hertz. I use 528 love frequencies. There's all different kinds. And then for the smoking, I specifically wanted to brainwash myself. So I wanted like subliminal messages in mine just to kind of
Okay.
boost it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it worked. I
Mhm.
mean, I'm cigarette free. I My skin got a lot clearer. I'm less stressed.
Yeah.
I used to have a lot of anxiety, and I don't have that anymore.
Mm,
Even when I'm like really stressed at work, I don't really feel. I feel I'm still calm.
mm. That's good.
It's like a weird peaceful feeling. I wish everyone could feel that way, but I hope frequency music. Well, they're gonna bring that up in the future. Like, oh, frequency music could heal. Like, there's music that could heal cancer.
Well, I mean, it's funny that you say that because there's been scientific study of that, of frequencies that have been able to do like reverse things on the mitochondria and all that stuff, and bringing it back to its normalcy and all that stuff against cancer. Now it's not widely known, but yeah, science definitely knows what frequency does to the human
Yeah.
body.
Into the
And
water, you could put the frequency to the water, and it changes like different
change
shapes and stuff.
it'll
Yeah,
do all these actually it resonates if when that's done, if you look at it, it looks like it's doing like what's it called, ancient,
like the structures, right?
yeah, ancient geometry. I think I'm going with that. And yeah, it starts forming, which, I mean, you can go into the building of the pyramids. That's possibly what they've used it to for, what they used it for too. They had some type of frequency technology or whatever that, or an advanced knowledge of it. But yeah, so but because they know about what frequencies do, they know the other types of frequencies that do the opposite of that.
They do the opposite, and then that's what they try to keep the society on a low vibrational state. So they never, they it's like they want everyone in anxiety and to live in fear all the time.
Yeah.
And what does that do? That makes you sick. Now you need medication. Oh, and then it just keeps you in the system. It just keeps going and going and going until you pass away.
Yeah. So.
Oh, and how the cathedrals or like the churches, how they're built.
Yeah.
I read somewhere where the bell that they used to ring would vibrate a special, like a vibration through the city, and that city the vibration in that city was like good, like there was people were living a long time and something like that. And apparently somebody found out about that and got rid of the
got rid of the bells. There's a conspiracy of them. Yeah. There's actual, like, there was like a demolition of like bells. Like there's still bells in some of these cathedral types, but they're not as big, and that actually
they're not used as much. Like, yeah, it's the reason for it.
Even some of the structures that we have, I don't know how much you know about what's it called? Not Lemuria, but it actually coincides with it. But
the way they build it all coincides with each other. So when like how their windows are too in the churches, like the old churches, how they have the windows, everything is shaped a certain way. They have certain symbols, and then when they're playing the music, it vibrates.
Exactly.
Yeah, throughout the church.
And it starts even how the structures are built. Like if it has like a dome, obelisk, or whatever, it's for whatever reason the way that it's built or the materials that it's built out of causes this type of frequency amongst, the inhabitants of it or even surrounding of it, and it creates that good frequency type. But yeah, I mean, and that's why we don't even see any of that. Like if you ever go downtown Providence, or even some of the areas in Rhode Island, or even across the country or the world, you'll see some of these structures that are made, like these cathedrals or castles or whatever, temples and all that stuff. They do not make these types of structures that we have in modern times. Like they're very built intricately, like
very boring. Now, what we have, they're very basic, but there was way more detail in the structures back then.
Almost impossible detail if because of how long ago that they were built. You would like how the hell did they build that? Like you would need machines for that, and they didn't have machines back then to do that, which is another long conversation to get on. Tartaria, that's what I was getting at. I don't know how familiar you are with Tartaria, but I don't know. I think there has some resonance with that, and it has everything to do with frequency, everything to do with ancient knowledge and ancient geometry, and all of these structures of what it meant for how they were built. They weren't just built just because they were designed. They were built for a reason, for what they were able to produce and all that stuff. I think some of these things were able to produce even electricity by not by it. You know what I'm saying? So I mean,
amazing, right?
it's amazing stuff, and there's so many things that have been kept from us, but the fact that we are able to dive and go into these type conversations and excuse me, and all of these histories, and that literally it's all accessible to us. A lot of people can dive into these things, and I think it would wake a lot more people up. And I think a lot of people are becoming more awake now than they were 10, 15, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, even 50, 60 years ago. A lot of more people are more privy to this knowledge now, even though they may not be able to use it correctly currently. I do think, I'm optimistic. I do think that all that is left in the dark will come to the light. And I mean that by people who need to be brought to justice, as well as the things that we need to know to remember about who we are, truly about who we are. And yeah, I mean, anything else that you want to bring up? Anything else that are like last notes that people should know about dream sequencing and lucid dreams and spirituality, and what's the reason of why we are actually connected? There has to be a purpose to it, but what's your thoughts?
And that's I feel like that's the way God sends us messages. That's the only, I feel like that's what it is. God is sending us messages or little hunches, or it could also be like our ancestors that are part of us, like trying to guide us. And I feel like we are all connected. We're all human. We all bleed the same. We all came from the one source of event, over time. So I feel like people should be more open-minded. If you do have a dream, don't always dismiss it, because that's, I feel like our gifts are our instincts. Just like animals have instincts, like animals could know when an earthquake is about to happen, they run for cover. Those are our instincts. Like, why would you want to suppress it? It's not evil. It's nothing. Oh, you're not a demon or anything. I think also, if you have dreams, try to write them down. It'll help you understand them better. You could keep track of them. I know I'm guilty of not writing all of them down. I have a good memory though. But for someone that's new into this, I would have them write them down, and then they could how do I explain it? I'm trying to put the right words to it. They could compare it to their life, or only you really know your dream or the message that it's for you. So you could write them down and make sure you didn't miss anything. And then you could even look them up in a dream book. You don't always got to be off your head. You could get things and read up on things. Oh, what does this mean? That's how I got into it when I was younger. And look at me now. Pay attention to the signs.
Came a long way.
Yeah. Pay attention to the signs. Take it easy, one step at a time. Things don't happen overnight. I could say one thing. There was one dream that like really freaked me out when I was younger. I was like in my early 20s. I was looking for a job. It's a little personal, but I was looking for a job, and I was beat. I wasn't getting the job that I wanted. So some kid was like, there's a job that I have a family member that needs supposedly they needed a secretary, right? So I go to this job. It turns out to be completely something else that you already know that I was not trying to do. And then I'm like, I'm good. So I went home and I prayed, and I was not more like praying. I was kind of like mad at God, and I was like pissed off. Like I've been busting my ass. It was like this. I was like, I was busting my ass looking for a job, and these are the people that you send me. I was like, is this what you really want me to do? And then I fell asleep. I didn't get a dream the first day, but then the second day, I asked again, right? Then when I end up getting a dream, the dream woke me up. I was like sweating. In the dream, I'll tell you the dream. It was very, I till this day it still resonates in my head. He, I was in the dream. I see a bunch of people on a shoreline. It's like a whole community of people was waiting for something to happen, like in front of the water or something weird like that. I remember my mom being around me, and she kept dropping like pennies, quarters, and stuff on the floor. Later on, I didn't know what it meant then, but later on, I found out that means like I was worried about petty things that really didn't matter. There was something bigger I should have been more worried about. At that time, I didn't understand the dream. And then after that, I noticed everyone was hovering around some guy, and he was supposedly Jesus. Okay, this man.
Okay.
There's a woman in the water where her leg, she's like laying back in her on her back with her legs open, like floating almost, but with her legs open.
Yeah.
So this is creepy. So I'm sitting, now we're all facing like the water, and the guy that's supposed to be Jesus said something really perverted about his mom Maria. He said something like sexual, where I turned around and I was like, wait, this is, people are worshiping the wrong person. And then all of a sudden the dream changes. I'm under the water looking up at the woman in that's floating with her legs open. This man walks, I could see his legs walking into the water, and then I guess he thrusts himself inside of her. All I remember was all the water completely turning black, and then I woke up in this like it was creepy to me, like it was scary. So I apologized to God that day. I was like, I'm so sorry. I won't question your.
That's what you got from that.
Never again.
That's what you got from that, though. Like to apologize.
I was worried about the wrong things. And
wow.
And that people were being deceived. People were being deceived. Is the great deceiver is gonna. It was something similar to that. Like people were worshiping the wrong thing. I don't know if it was Jesus, because they were making it like that was a fake Jesus that I was looking at.
Right. Wow. Like
the great deception, you know what I mean? I don't know if that was a part of that.
False Messiah type.
All that. It was so creepy. I never talked to God like that ever again.
That's wild. Well, the thing is too, though, like it's not completely condemned to have anger towards God, as long as you're acknowledging that you're having that conversation with him. Although, here's the thing, and I think this is what may have happened to you, is that, okay, you had your disagreement with him, but he's going to send you, and that's what it sounds like, is like, okay, listen, whatever you got from it is what the message was for you. And if that's what you perceive it as, that's probably what he was trying to send to you, is like,
you're worried about these petty little things when there's so much
you're worried
bigger
about all
things.
these petty things, but there's so much bigger things here. So damn, that's
serious, right?
That's great. That's wild.
I never told. You were probably like maybe second person I told that dream to, because yes, because that was
good.
a very scary dream.
That it sounds like it, and it sounds very serious, especially the way that you're able to recall it too.
And that was years ago. I was so, to this day, I never woke up from a sweat, like a dream. Like I woke up sweaty, like freaking out. Like it was
like almost like disoriented. Like, are you woke? Like, have you awoken type?
I've had that before. Like I slung up from like my bed up, and then I was like panting. Like I was sweating. And I was just, the first thing I said, I was like, I'm sorry. I am sorry. I will go back to what I need to be doing.
Yeah.
But no, that was like, I get dreams like that. I've had we're not the only people, like whatever our mission is in life, we're not the only people, because I've gotten other dreams where certain people, I don't know if it's the 144 or anything, I'm not sure, but I've had dreams where I'm walking up to like a hooded hooded people, but there's a row of them. They all dressed in black, and you can't see their face at all, like at all. And then it was my turn to walk over, but I wasn't the only one. There was a line of people walking to this one. I guess everyone had each their own person they had to walk to. And when I walked to the hooded whatever it was, it gave me a stone, like a special stone. I believe it was like a ruby stone, or I don't know, but honestly, now looking back, I'm like, was that us taking the like what we were gonna do in this planet, like when we were coming like is that our mission? Like, was that a part of our mission? Like we picked this life to come back to do whatever the hell we're meant to do, you know what I mean? I wasn't the only one in the line. There was thousands of people in the line.
That's interesting.
And they were all receiving a special stone. Everyone got different stones. Yes.
That's interesting. I've always wondered that. Did we choose to come here, and we technically don't even have any memory of it, but yet I always wondered that.
Back then I didn't know what the hell that was, but now me looking back, I'm like, was that me before I came down here? And then like, was the stone like just a symbol of the type of life I chose?
Right.
Like you like
what reminds me of something too, and this is in scripture. It's bringing to my memory right now. God says to us, and I'm paraphrasing a bit here, but I knew you before, before you were you, I knew you, or something like that. I think it's Christ that's saying it. And what I get from that is how I'm interpreting what you're saying to me, is like, if we're known before we come here, then we've already lived somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? To come here in order to live out whatever we chose to live out, whatever we're trying to find to do. This it makes everything more stranger on why we're here and what the purpose truly is, because I don't even know if we can actually get to it until we actually get to there. And it's wild. It's wild.
Yes, it's wild.
And I do think everything with these dreams, with all the stuff that we're capable of doing that we may have forgotten, like ancestrally forgotten or whatever, it leads us to that ultimate understanding. And I don't know, we have to keep our eye on that at all times, and not let all of these other things distract us, like phones and TV and fear and anxiety.
And like, I can't focus on myself. I'm too busy with work. Take your time for yourself. You need to, because the world is not going nowhere. This is always going to be
here. Yeah, it's always going to be. Yeah, and ultimately, I think love, not just as a word, but not just as a feeling, but it's also like an element.
Love is the highest frequency that there is.
Absolutely. I absolutely 100%. There's nothing like it. It's to the point where you can't even, like, true actual love, you can't describe it. I was able to understand that when I had my son. Like 100%. That was the way for me to see, like, I don't even know how to describe this right now, but I understand what it is. I just can't describe it, because it's beyond words. It's beyond
words. Yes.
Yep. Well, that's a good note to leave all this on right here. I'm so happy that you were able to
having me.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a long time coming, and I think that this has to be a part 2 into other things, because there's so much more that we can dive into apart from what goes on in our world and what goes on this spiritual aspect of that journey. And I think we have to come back to this another time to dive into those other things, because this goes way beyond lucid dreaming. It goes into
we could make like 20 episodes of this, honestly.
Absolutely 100%. And I think we should definitely come back to this very soon. So
Well,
do
I'll
think
try to make it more organized. Like maybe put it in little categories where we could talk about certain things.
we could do
I
that.
tried. I
No,
tried.
no, I mean, you got more notes than I do. You know what I'm saying?
Wow, that little thing.
Yeah. It's all in here. It's all in here. It's everything that I read and all that stuff. These are many topics that I'm so invested in topics like this. I'm very interested on these things: the human mind, the human soul, the human body, and history, and what it is exactly, or what we are. Are we what they say, what they've told us we are? And I don't want to go based on what people have told us what we are. I want to know exactly what we are, and also based on prayer and based on the Creator and
Yes.
what is all of this, and why is this happening, and why is this all going on? There's so much to it. There's a deepness to it. And some people will be out there, it's really not that deep. It really is that deep. It's so deep that, and it's trying to find that answer. And the only way that we can find that answer is having conversations like this. That's ultimately the only way. But Tracy, I appreciate you. Love you for coming on. Thank you so much.
Problem.
You don't have to be nervous anymore now. So
I thought I was nervous, and look, we've been on here for like 2 hours.
yeah. No, listen. Every time that when I do shows like this, even when it's solo, it's harder when I do it solo because I have to keep myself talking about certain things all the time. But
no problem. Anytime you want to do this again,
absolutely.
I'm your girl.
100%. I appreciate
Tell
it.
the family I said hi. Tell the wife I said hi.
Absolutely.
Okay.
She'll be tuning in. She could probably hear this right now. But I don't know if you have like a social media, anyone wants to follow you. What other? Because I know you have that fashion event, so I don't know if you want to promote that too. If you want to.
Oh yes. 1 second about that. So
Sure.
the fashion show is happening this Sunday.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yes, it's this Sunday, May 18th. It's Struts. It's Kickback with Kiki, and it's happening in Bohm's Theater at 4:00 on Sunday. If you guys want to come watch, I know the main tickets are sold out, but I think they still have tickets at the door.
Where's this at?
Bohm's Theater. That's in 1017 Broad Street, Providence, Rhode Island.
Okay. And you said,
okay, come watch us. We're performing. We're going to be on stage.
All right.
And modeling at the same time. I got my daughter in this time.
Nice. Shout outs to your daughter. Both. You got 2 daughters, right?
Yeah, 2.
One of them, was that the one that was singing? I'm sorry.
Nazari.
Nazari. Nazari.
Yeah. She's going to college. She's leaving me.
Nice. Oh, congratulations. Awesome. Oh, yeah. Sad mom.
Sad mom, right?
But yo, thank you for coming on, and we'll do this again. I appreciate y'all and everybody else that's on there. Make sure you like, share, subscribe on The True Perspective on Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, YouTube, and Rumble, Instagram, X, all of the major platforms. Tracy, thank you once again. Thank you. Love you.
All right, bye.
If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
This is a struggle for the survival.
Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
And this will be our last chance to say.
I'm trying to free your mind. It is this feeling that has brought you to me.
At last.
No judge in U.S. history has ever told somebody what they can and can't say.
The whole purpose of the First Amendment is to keep the government the hell out of the business of speech.
Many of us had to be brought to the brink. A lot of us here have a calling.
I can only show you the door.
To awaken others.
You're the one that has to walk through it.
Keep spreading a message.
Something's happening, right?
The world is changing every day.
Civilization is weird.
Time is coming.
At the
Train
tipping
can't be stopped.